Hey everybody, it is Nathan and
Jess,
Selove with another edition of You Might Be Autistic.
if
You work off me so well. That was so natural.
thank you.
That was also sarcasm, darling.
Oh.
So Jess, why do we do You Might Be Autistic if?
We do You Might Be Autistic If videos because your commenters like to give us great material to work with.
Yeah. The way that this series keeps going is because you all keep posting these comments. These are comments about statements that some people think could be associated with autism. Now, standard disclaimer, you met one autistic,
You met one autistic.
You know, just because some of these might apply to you doesn't automatically mean you are autistic. Just because they don't,
Doesn't mean that you aren't.
exactly. So,
And we will probably mispronounce someone's handle, and you can correct us and we'll try to be better in the future.
because if there's one thing that I know that a lot of autistics like, it's correcting people.
True.
So, you ready to get started?
Yeah, I'm so ready. Bella Gibbon? I know I mispronounced that. You might be autistic if you had to go to therapy for people skills because before you were diagnosed, everyone thought you were rude and dangerous.
Yep.
Yeah, I hear that, and it does bring up some like important points. There, sometimes it can be kind of played as something easy and not very deep, that autistics are often perceived as rude, and there are times where it's not a big deal, but there are also times where you might be considered like dangerous or non-cooperative.
Yeah,
and
especially because of the eye contact issue.
there's that. There's just also, I'm someone whose persona is often received as combative or really aggressive when I think that I'm just being direct.
Yeah. You do come across that way sometimes.
Some people like it.
I actually remember specifically one therapy session in which my therapist pointed out the fact that I wasn't looking at her in the eye, and I was just kind of like, well, yeah, but I'm listening to you. She was like, yeah, but you're not looking me in the eye. I was like, yeah, but I'm listening to you. And I think that's probably the moment where she was like, we got an autistic here. Up next, frequent commenter Shifty Clutch says, if you often find yourself unintentionally and unconsciously imitating the voice of people you are talking to and not realize it until someone confronts you about it, you might be autistic.
Yeah.
You know, I do that sometimes.
You really do.
I definitely, I start talking more like, I feel like when I'm talking to people that have really heavy Southern accents, my Southern accent starts to come out more.
Yeah, it's a bit annoying. There is some research to suggest that the reason people mimic things like accents, like not intentionally, not for cruelty, but just it starts to happen, is actually us trying to perform empathy.
Yeah.
I don't really know. For me,
But
as an
autistics
autistic,
can't feel empathy.
he's not being serious.
Yeah. I was making fun of neurotypicals. I was speaking like a neurotypical.
He was making fun of neurotypicals who think autistics can't be empathetic.
Yeah.
But I also know that as an autistic, sometimes I just get certain cadences or phrases or like ways of pronouncing things. Did I say that right?
You did say that right.
Yay!
Good job. She's very bad at pronouncing the word pronounce.
So I know that as an autistic person, I can sometimes get that stuck in my head, and then I want to say it because it's almost like a verbal stem again. So I definitely can see where that would come from. A chap says, you might be autistic if the only English assignment you did in 7th grade was an essay on your favorite celebrity, except you did 5 separate essays on each member of ABBA and an obscure W2 or World War II singer and turned all of them in ABBA. It's either ABBA or ABBA, and I will not look it up. Never. I love.
That's really funny. That is really like, I guess the logic there is, if you feel like you have multiple favorites, if someone says pick your favorite, you just got to do all of them. Because otherwise you're going to make the rest of them feel bad.
Well, most of the...
it's that sense of justice.
I really related to the not doing assignments in school. So many of the assignments that I had in school were just not really functional. It was just about busy work, and it really frustrated me that if I understood a concept, I couldn't move on to something else, that they would keep making me practice it. I can
Yeah.
even understand intellectually that there were some people who still needed to practice the concept. It just, there are many times where I'll be in class and I'm like, come on, let's get it going. Come on, everybody. Get ahead.
The common standard strikes again. You might be autistic if, as an autistic with lots of anxiety, the ability to watch a movie over and over again is soothing because you know what's coming next. See, that was me with the Star Wars series when I was younger. Like, I would just watch the entire series over and over again. And it was very comforting. It was very soothing for me.
You don't do this as much with TV series, but I like to rewatch TV series.
Yeah.
And I have my particular favorites.
Yeah, she's watched Mad Men. I mean, it's got to be at least 18 times at this point.
Well, it depends on if you're counting by season by season. I don't think I've watched every episode 18 times, but I went through and rewatched each season. Then I've watched just the first episode and then just the last. And then I've gone through and picked out my favorites. That's not the point. Yeah, it can be really nice. And there's also a lot that you might pick up. I really like intelligently created shows where they put a lot of detail into, mannerisms, like maybe they're great actors or the writing. I really like to go back and kind of see that and watch that behavior. It's strange for me. I never get to do that in real life. Another one from Shifty Clutch. If you have a hard time understanding when someone is joking around or being serious, you might just be autistic.
Yeah, we've had similar ones like that before.
Most of the time, that can be benign. If I'm with my friends and they say something and I'm thinking that they're serious, they kind of laugh at, my facial expression or my reaction. Yeah. Sometimes that can feel really frustrating because especially, I don't know, this has happened a lot to me when I was a child, but also still happens sometimes with older adults where they will say, oh, I'm just teasing, you're being too sensitive, not realizing I wasn't necessarily being sensitive. I just don't know how to react because I don't know if you were serious or not.
I mean, if I know you're joking, it's really easy for me to just be like, ha, that's funny. One time I was actually watching this duo performance in high school speech.
Oh, no.
And, the entire first half of the duo performance was funny. So I thought, this is a humorous piece. It's not going to get serious. And then at one point there was one line where this kid says, my dad's in jail. And I thought it was a joke. So I laughed very loudly. And then I realized around the room, oh, wait, that was a serious moment. No one else is laughing.
Hey.
And I felt like I wanted to shrink into my seat.
I want you, though, to give yourself credit for reading the room.
Up next, we have Christina Dulcetti. You might be autistic if you love the Rosie Project trilogy, especially the Rosie Rousseau, and want to implement the standardized meal system. So I am unfamiliar with that.
I think I read the first book in this trilogy. I think, and if I'm remembering correctly, it was just a structured meal planning, and I could be totally wrong about this. Also, I think it's Dolcetti, not Dulcetti, so, let us know which one was right. But I have read books where the person, I don't know, it's always interesting to me how many autistics you might meet where they could eat the same thing every day and they like it that way. And other autistics who, it's really uncomfortable to always eat the same thing and it frustrates me to do that. I do not like to eat the same things all the time in the same flavor palette. It will really bother me. And I will just get to the point where I can't eat it for a whole month if I get sick of the food.
Yeah. I've had that on rare occasions.
True Bagel says,
love that name.
You might be autistic if you are asked a question without warning while you are doing something and then your whole day gets interrupted because you have to pause. This used to happen to me at work all the time where I had a job that was merchandising where I went into stores and set up displays and it would
merchandising.
Don't do that.
Spaceballs. Mel Brooks. One of the greatest movies ever made.
Don't do that. I don't like that. And I really would get frustrated because I would be focused on my task and people would come up just to tell me that I looked really focused on my task. and ask me what I was doing as if they couldn't see it. So I got nothing for you. Try to assume a glare and still people will come up to you. So
Yeah.
your dad really needs to have his time protected if he's in the middle of a task.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, he's the person who was able to hyper focus on an exam in college so much that he didn't hear a fire alarm go off.
Yeah, he'll have to tell that story sometime on the channel.
Yeah. Well, that is all the ones that we have time for. Thank you so much to everybody that left comments down below. And if you want to keep this series going, leave your own You Might Be Autistic gifts below.
And seriously, tell me if it was Dolcetti or Dolcetti, because I think I'm right and I need to know.
Or if there are any others that we mispronounced, please let us know. In the meantime, that is today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, please give it a like, a share, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, check out some of my other stuff, and if you want to support the channel in other ways, support me on Patreon. And you will see me in the next one.
You might not see me.